Welcome to the EC Podcast, Episode 1. This is me, S.A. Nathy, otherwise known online on Twitter and Facebook as FireTSG. It's F-I-R-E-E-T-S-G for those wanting to know how to spell it. Hard to spell, easy to say. This is the first episode of the EC Podcast, which is all about the EC brand, otherwise known as Elemental Comics, on Facebook and Twitter. Same thing, both sides, one word. If you want to capitalize Element in comics, that's awesome. So this is all about my comics and cartoons, mainly my comics, because I literally just the last few weeks have got into drawing and have since published 3 series premieres on Amazon. They're $3.49 a piece. They are Windfire the Flamium, which is going to be the main mascot. Who is the main mascot, which is going to be the main series where, you know, everything more or less eventually we'll be focusing on, because Windfire's character, as I created him back in 1998, I had no idea that I was going to turn him into something that is literally one of my life's passions, drawing him, and as well as my other comic series and characters. The second series, which is actually my predates Windfire by a few years in terms of creation of characters, so on and so forth, is the TKs or DTKs, aka the True Kind. They are a series of freedom fighters who live on another land. All Windfire and the TKs both take place on a planet known as Troa, T''ROA. Hopefully that'll be something that becomes synonymous with the series, so eventually when I have a fan base, so, oh, you know this and that about Troa or something like that, because I have developed so much about the backstory for the characters and the individual plots and storylines and just so much stuff over the past 17 years since I really got into drawing comics. And I should say by like 02 or 03, I was literally punching out a comic every couple of days just because I was just like so into it. Maybe not like every couple of days, but there I have actually numbers and stats in my drawing notebook, as I call it, which I actually, when I was drawing comics more actively, paper and pencil. And I've drawn about 400 comics and over 300 characters, individual characters, so I have plenty of things to go off of. And as you have read, hopefully those who are listening to this, those who are following me on Facebook or Twitter, have seen the first issue, have at least seen the preview of one of the first issues that I have published. Windfire, like I said, is going to be the main focus of the EC brand, because he's the mascot character. He's my Mario, my Mickey, my Bugs Bunny, my whoever, he's the mascot of the franchise, of the EC brand. Hashtag EC brand on Twitter and Facebook, please. I want that to get out there. I want that to be trending. Part of the goal of doing this, obviously, is to build a brand. And as I introduce the series and characters, and they hopefully become more known around the world globally, which is kind of an oxymoron thing around the world, redundant, I should say. There will be eventually a good following in Windfire and the TKs, and the third series, which I published literally just a few hours ago. As of the time I'm recording this podcast will not be officially published and posted until August 1st, because that's when I'm starting the EC Podcast as a hopefully weekly thing. Hopefully I actually get some feedback on Facebook, on Twitter, or Amazon even, from those who are readers of comic books, or who are nice enough to have purchased an issue, or who just want to know more about it, because I'm trying to build a brand on Twitter, because I'm following a bunch of comic artists and companies on there, and I'm going to be hopefully getting, I would ideally like to be getting some good feedback from people actually in the industry, so I can actually build a brand, have an audience, and make a name for myself, as well as my characters and my series. So the first series, like I said, Windfire the Flaming, takes place on the planet Troa, which is also where the TK series takes place, but they're on different lands, different continents, islands, whatever you want to call them. Windfire takes place on the land of Kater, K-A-T-E-R, and the TKs takes place on Valora, which, again, there's a lot of backstory. As I've drawn these comics, these characters, for over half my life, I've developed literally dozens, if not hundreds, of intricate little interweaving plot lines. I have backstory, I have history, I have all these flashbacks planned. I have so many things planned for the series. It's, for all 3 series, it's crazy. Spontaneous Sea takes place across the galaxy from Windfire and the TKs on 2 worlds, Tolar and Hatar, H-A-T-A-R. And that's going to be the series that I'm going to develop, more science fiction-like. And if you follow me enough, and I'm into writing sci-fi, which I'm not going to bring into because it's not part of the EC brand. But so I'm trying to build Spontaane C's series into more of a science fiction, although in the original comics, as I call this, the new generation, the old generation of EC comics, the EC brand, Windfire and Spontaane and the TKs and pretty much all my series crossed over at least once or twice. They all know each other. You know, they're the good guys, so they're going to get together, and they're also going to be fighting each other's villains back and forth. The main villains I have on the Windfire series, we started off, if you read issue 1, the premiere, there are a couple main villains I introduced. One introduced off the bat, Ice, who is Windfire's father, and then as the story goes along, you meet another character who I'm not going to reveal until I'm content that more people have read it. I think I've sold four copies of that one on Amazon. I'm looking forward to the TKs having a sale, and as I said earlier, the Spontaane C saga has been started on Amazon. The first issue was literally published like 3-4 hours ago. They're going to develop. I've had some good feedback from a few friends on Facebook who have bought them. I'm hoping eventually I have actual people who can actually review and comment on them on Amazon, so I can get some more, criticism, constructive. Otherwise, hopefully nothing too harsh. The one bit of negative about it is the fact that they're not colored, they're black and white, because black and white for me is how I drew the originals. I've had 400 comics I've drawn, they're all black and white with light to moderate shading, although a lot of the golden ones don't have much. It was just character in the panel talking, character in the panel talking, and then action. Something simple. I mean, they were drawn on paper and pencil, so it's not like I have oodles of detail in them. But again, I can definitely improve that. In Spontaane C's first issue, actually, it took me a while. It took me a while, long enough to draw it by itself. Then it took another couple of days to shade it to where I'm satisfied with the shading job. And there's many values of shading, so it's a good proper black and white comic, and they're all going to be in that same level of shading. And again, the cover art for every issue will be color. There will also be an occasional full color issue for like the 10th issue or a big issue or a big crossover issue. There will be more color. And since I have now published all 3 premiere issues of the 3 series, I'm also going to be doing what I'm calling the hashtag EC Triple Threat, which is going to be the first 3 series premieres in one bundle, 90 pages total. So there's going to be bonus art, some sketches, color art, so on and so forth. I know it being digital, it's not quite like a collector's edition graphic novel edition or something like that, but it's going to be something to where hopefully if you want to just buy that instead of the 3 individual comics, it'll be $10. It'll have all 3 that'll be bonus stuff, so I think it'll be worth hopefully more than $10 in terms of collector's value. I don't know if I'm going to call a digital comic a collector's thing, but it's a 3-in-1 bundle. It's a bundle sell. Bundles are a good way to, hey, 3 comics for $10, not bad. Well, they're individually 3.5, but 10 is big. You're saving 50 cents, but then you're going to be getting another 10 pages essentially of art, because Windfire is going to be 30 pages as standard, because that's how they are. And my original, the old gen Windfire comics are 30 pages, just because I try to put more into it, because there's a lot more. I have a lot more involved in that series personally. TKs and Spontaane will be 25, and as I progress, if I mentioned earlier, there will be spin-offs. I have spin-offs planned for Windfire's ally, close friend Camo, aka Camouflage, who I'm just going to call Camo. I had him Camouflage originally, but I didn't put the U in Camouflage because I don't like the U, because it doesn't make sense there where it is, so he's just going to be Camo. Other series planned, but I will get into that later, somewhere hopefully by the end of the year. Although I can't even predict that far in the future, because I don't know how quickly I'm going to get through these, because they take me like a week to get through an issue, 30 or 25 pages regardless. And as soon as I get back to Windfire number 2, which is the next comic that'll be published sometime early August, probably around the time this podcast is posted online and spread across the world, Windfire 2 will be going, and then TK's 2 and Spontaane C2, and I want to get through at least the first 3, the first story arcs for each series before I figure out, well, is this working or not? Because I have a few people on Facebook who I know have gotten them, and I'm hoping that, again, I build an audience, I get some attention. I'm trying to get followers on @ElementalComics on Twitter, and some likes on Facebook.com/ElementalComics, because I want the brand to be a brand. The large goal overall And if you followed me personally or the brand, I've tried Kickstarters twice, one in 2014 and one earlier this year, 2015. And sad to say, the first one in 2014 was more successful, but neither one came even close to hitting the goal. The main goal is to have the funds rather through Kickstarter or GoFundMe or PayPal. Any way I can possibly get it, through sales of my comics, is to buy a brand on GoDaddy, or not GoDaddy, but LegalZoom, so I can legally own the EC brand, Elemental Comics, so I can actually make it my own, and then hopefully that can spread like wildfire, and become something that is part of the comic vernacular. So people are like, oh yeah, EC brand, I read their stuff, oh they're good stuff, and then maybe get actual published paper buys, printed comic books. So yeah, 3 series are on Amazon. They're Windfire to Flamium, which is a 30-page, $3.50 or 49-cent premiere issue, and then TKs and Spontaneity are both 25-page, $3.49 a piece premieres. And I may drop the price for issues 2 for all 3 series, but I think I'll keep it there unless somehow they're not selling. I may drop them a bit. Color issues, when I do them, they will be probably $4 a piece, depending on, because again, it took me a while to get through a fully shaded Spontaneity premiere, and if I'm going to be doing color, it's going to be even longer because there's a lot of work to do because it's just me. And again, the big thing I have coming up is for the first 3 premiere issues, they'll be in one bundle for $99 on Amazon, which is a good deal. You get 3 comics and a bunch of bonus art, 90 pages total for $10. I mean, really, it's not that bad. I put a lot of work into these, literally, and I have so many things I want to give to the world in doing these. I have so many characters, so many comics, I have so many things I want to show, and I think they can work. I really do. I think I can get this to work to where it's something that people actually recognize and enjoy. So thanks for listening to the first EC podcast. This is S.A. Nathy, otherwise known as FearATSG on Facebook and Twitter. Please share this podcast. Please like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, and just spread the word about the hashtag EC brand. Thanks for listening. Read on.